Springs Board of Directors. Tonight, our invocation will be led by Pastor Lamar Trishman, to be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Would you please stand with me?
Let's pray together. Father God, we thank you for this great evening we have. We thank you for this city that we live in, and we thank you for these public servants here who make decisions to protect us, provide for us. We pray that you would give them wisdom as they continue to lead. Father, we thank you for all the great things that go on in our city, all the blessings that have come to us, and we're grateful. We recognize that every good thing that comes into our lives comes down from you, from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shifting shadow. You love your children, your people. You love us all the same, and we're grateful for all you've given us. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I hereby call this meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Yes. Davidson.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Clark.
Here.
Williams. Here. Graham here. Bob. Here. Carney.
Okay, the first item of business on our agenda tonight is the approval of the agenda. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, or modifications to the agenda, including items if you need to be removed from the consent agenda? Motion to approve. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. All in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Okay, it is approved. The next item of business is the approval of the minutes of the board meetings, which were held February the 2nd, and a special meeting held on January 21st. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, or modifications to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, may I have a motion to approve the minutes? Is there a second? We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. It is approved. In an effort to afford everyone an equal and orderly opportunity to address the items on tonight's agenda, I request that our citizens and our guests adhere to a 3-minute limit on your comments, and for your convenience, we will have a display clock timer on the monitors above. And out of respect for all of us, we ask that you honor this request. While members of our board may have questions of the speakers, I ask that any general comments be reserved for the board discussion after all the speakers have been heard. As a reminder, would everyone please speak into the microphone so that everyone can hear those who are listening on television, and also we ask that you state your name and address when you do that for the record. We also ask that all cell phones be silenced during the meeting, and please refrain from any disruptions of the meeting. That's pausing, fooling, or whatever you might disruption. Should you need to leave prior to the conclusion of the meeting, we ask that you please do so quietly. And thank you so very much for being here. We appreciate your interest in our city. And tonight I noticed a really good-looking group of guys on the back row. That's Scout Troop number 7. And they're here to observe. Would you guys mind standing up and letting us meet you? I told them how to request their potholes filled with their whatever it may be. Thank you for coming, and thank you for bringing the guys here tonight. We have any other special guests? I see a lot of special people out there, and we're glad you're here. But we don't have any proclamations tonight. So now we will hear our city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board. Just want to make you aware of a couple of work sessions we have coming up February 23rd, next Tuesday. We'll have your board commission interviews. That'll be following the agenda meeting. Also, March the 8th, we'll have Chris Engineers here with a work session on our water model, as well as some discussion regarding storage tank possibilities, and that'll be on March 8th, again, following the agenda meeting. And finally, one of the items that'll be coming up, and I'll be sending some information out on, is our current rate study with Dan Jackson, economist.com. That'll be coming to you on March 15th. Just as a prelude, I will say that in reading through that report, that study, it does appear that our current rate structures is sufficient to fund our operations. So I'll look forward to getting that out to the board and Dan coming in and presenting that study. Also like to make the board members and public aware that the Election Commission will start opening its door, or started opening its doors today out at the airport. It will be a polling location throughout the election season, and that will be open during the duration of the 2016 elections, and that will be at the airport. If you happen to be down at the Transportation Depot, you'll notice some inlaid bricks there on the sidewalk. That is the beginning of a wayfinding path that is part of a federal lands access program. That particular inlaid brick will start there at the Transportation Depot where the Greenway begins, and it will go all the way to the promenade with National Park Service. So we'll be connecting our Greenway with the city and the National Park Service's promenade. And again, it looks really good. They just got it started this past week. And if you get a chance, stop down and take a look at that. It's going to be something really nice when they get that completed. Last couple of items is, we've got a wonderful public information department. They have done some really good work, and I want to recognize Terry Payne and John McFadden. The State of the City report, they've done a phenomenal job getting that on the city's website. It's on cityhs.net. Go to the city manager's page, and you'll see the PowerPoint presentation, the videos, and as well as some additional information that we have posted on that. But that's available on the city manager site. But our YouTube channel is something that we can really all be proud of. Right now, our finance director, Doretha Yates, has a program that was on the city news segment, really detailing and discussing the process on the city's budget and how that's formulated and presented to the board. So they've done a great job on that, and you can find that on the city's YouTube channel. If you're looking for that, it's cityhs.net/YouTube, or you can go to cityhs.net and you'll see a YouTube icon. But we've been putting these videos on YouTube over the past several years, and now there's quite an inventory of city news segments as well as board meetings that are on there. And again, it's a wealth of information on various city departments. They usually last about 5 minutes. They're very informative, so if you're not aware of those, please look at the YouTube channel that the city has. And again, Terry Payne and John McFadden have done just a great job on that. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, do any of our directors have announcements regarding upcoming events?
I have one, it's further out, but just a reminder that Arts in the Park takes place beginning. The kickoff launch party is April 29th, and then the studio tours will be that weekend, April 30th and May 1st, and then the following week is full of activities celebrating the arts and our artists, and we have many. And we're in the middle of planning and doing the final planning on that right now. The first week of May and the first 2 full weeks of June will be the Hot Springs Music Festival.
And they'll be here before we know it, so just
No.
yeah.
Oh, and St. Patrick's Day. Parade.
Parade's coming up.
Okay, the next item of business is consideration of the consent agenda. Items in this section are of a routine nature and will be considered as one item of business without discussion. I'll now entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Davidson.
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Clark. Williams.
Aye.
Raymond. Aye. Polly.
Aye.
Harney.
It was adopted. The next item of business is to consider ordinance number 01607. First of all, I will entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only. Do I have a motion?
I move to suspend rules and place ordinance on the second reading.
Second reading.
Or title, my title. My title. I'm slipping back now.
Yes. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to suspend rules and read by title. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Okay, council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01607, an ordinance approving CTR commercial transitional zoning to 1.5 acres at corner of Alpine Street and Bell Street, parcel ID number 39606, 39609, 39611, 39608, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. If you now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion if any.
Okay, we have a motion to adopt.
I moved for adoption of this ordinance.
Second.
Okay. And our discussion will be from our city staff.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the board.
Just move away. I know
Great.
your name.
Applicant B&F Engineering Inc. on behalf of property owner by appeal of Planning Commission decision seeks CTR commercial transitional zoning for multiple lots in Block G of O'Brien subdivision. The subject property consists of approximately 1.5 acres, generally located at the intersection of Alpine and Bell Streets. And like City Attorney Albright said, it's Garland County property ID numbers 39606, 39609, 39611, and 39608. The subject property is currently zoned R3, low density residential, has a future land use map designation of neighborhood commercial center, and is located in the city's seasonal parking overlay district. Surrounding development is both residential and commercial in nature, with parking lot developments to the south, east, northeast, and the property is located in Board of Directors number 4. Excuse me. B&F Engineering Inc. provided specific reasons to the 4 appeal standards. Summary of any reasons provided by Planning Commission concerning the decision made in the case. The appellant states in part the Planning Commission voted 4-2 in favor of granting the rezoning. A required 5-vote majority of the full commission is required to rezone to gain an approval recommendation from Planning Commission. During a portion of the discussion of the item, the commission focused on the subsequent development of the subject property and not on the rezoning of the land itself. Appellant also states, as mentioned in item number 1, the voting result for the rezone was a 4-2 outcome in favor of granting the rezone. Again, a majority of the full commission, needing 5 votes, is required for a rezoning to obtain an approval recommendation from Planning Commission. The applicant feels that they could have received the necessary majority vote if the entire commission were present to hear the request by the applicant. Staff's response to that assertion is that 3 commissioners were absent. Planning Commission bylaws do in fact require a 5-vote, a majority of the full commission, to pass a recommendation for an ordinance to the board. In order to accomplish the desired project, the first step is a zoning change to CTR commercial transitional. If the zoning change is successful, the second step would be to make complete application to the Planning Commission for conditional use approval to develop the parcels as a parking lot for Blind Jockey Club. The final step will be to apply to the City of Hot Springs Building Safety Department and Engineering Departments for all necessary permits and approvals prior to construction. Staff's recommendation to the Planning Commission was to recommend the Board of Directors adopt an ordinance amending the zoning map by zoning the subject property CTR commercial transitional because the Planning Commission has made a specific finding that the change is consistent with the Hot Springs zoning code and will help to implement an approved city plan. Planning Commission findings were Planning Commission duly advertised and held a public hearing on January the 14th of 2016 to consider this request. because the proposed zone change is consistent with the objectives of the zoning code and helps implement an approved city plan. Planning Commission voted 4-2 to accept the findings of staff and to recommend approval to the Board of Directors. As the majority of the full commission requires 5 votes and the applicant received only 4, the item did not pass. Fiscal impact, CTR Commercial Transitional allows for conditional use approval on a variety of commercial developments in the city, thus potentially giving a positive fiscal impact. The alternative, of course, is to not approve the CTR zoning, leaving the R3 zoning in place, thereby rendering the subject property unusable for commercial development. And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you. We have some people signed up, so we'll then call you back.
Okay.
Matthew Breckenridge.
Good evening, my name is Matthew Breckenridge, EF Engineering, 928 Airport Road. Mr. Stouter did a great job explaining the project, so I'm here to answer any technical questions you may have. But what we're looking to do is to go to commercial transitional zoning to have the infill in that area of the city where we have commercial on one side where parking happens and then residential on the other side. And what we're looking to do is to have that infill in a neighborhood-friendly environment where we save the existing retaining walls and keep the neighborhood look, along with planting trees along the property to kind of give that screening effect. So it's not just a parking lot out there. And then, of course, sidewalks will be put in as per city code to provide a buffer for pedestrians and keep them away from vehicular traffic.
Mr. Breckenridge, this is just for the rezoning. It has nothing to do with sidewalks and stuff like that. That all comes later, right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Thank you.
Those are some items that came up in the previous meeting, and just addressing those items at this time.
Any other questions? Okay, and are all the other parking lots that are up there, are they CTR?
I believe they're C4.
C4?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much.
Okay, we have Rebecca Applet.
Good evening, my name is Rebecca Allen. I live at 143 Alpine Street. And I just wanted to say that I was against the rezoning for the parking lot because of the neighborhood. I don't believe it goes with what's going on in the neighborhood, being that it's adjacent to a school and family living, and the fact that it will be year-round rather than just a temporary situation which it was before. We're concerned on the impact it'll have in our neighborhood and our ability to live here and have further expansion.
Thank you. Do you have kids in the school too?
I don't, but we live, I was just driving down the street today and there was kids playing right in the street, which is, I think, a wonderful thing.
Okay. Any questions for Rebecca? Thank you. Thank you for coming. And we have Chris Polycron.
Madam Mayor, I'm Chris Pollard from 118 Covey Rise Trail. I really thought I signed up in the event I had to ask questions, and I would answer any questions at this time if you have any.
Let me go back. Is it the intent to make this year-round parking out of these spaces?
The CTR, what was suggested and what looked appropriate to rezone the property. Truthfully, Oaklawn has enough parking on the east side of the street, all but 12 to 15 days of the whole year. So the paving the existing lot really was from two things. One, in 2010, when Oaklawn bought the large park lot across the street, the city required us to pave it. So we assumed that we would have to pay this one. It would be safer for our patrons and more convenient for our patrons if it was paid. So those are the two reasons that we're really paving it this time.
Now, I'm familiar with this area, and I can see how it would get good utilization during the live meeting, but I can't see anybody parking there during
North and I.
other times. It's just not close enough.
Yes, ma'am.
So there is parking there now, correct?
It's seasonal parking right now. We can park there without paying. Yes, correct, Ms. Bessemer.
And there's a permit for that you have to get for the seasonal
Yes.
parking, all of that.
Yes. Before I leave, thank each of you for your service to the city.
And I'm not sure what this is. Last name is Crabtree. Is it Jean? Yes.
Good evening. I'm Jean Crabtree. I'm from California, but when I'm here, I live in 111 Alpine. Actually, I'm just here. I just want to know exactly what they're going to do with the lot, and I was surprised when I opened my blinds and this is free parking. And I said, oh my God. Okay, so what's Oakland going to do now? There's no doubt Mr. Sella or Oakland have done a lot for the city, job, revenues, but you know, with this parking, they bought all the houses in there. I mean, there's nothing to him, money-wise. But the little ones are being hurt. That's how I feel about it. Okay, so I'm here for that.
I think they made a song like that, tearing down the house and building a parking lot. Whole song.
Never heard of that one,
Oh, yes. Okay, that's all we have here, so our discussion.
Madam Mayor, just before the meeting started, I got a text from a lady named Stevie Spargo. She said, I own property in the same block as the Oakland rezone. Please vote for the rezone. Thank you.
I've been getting calls, and especially we've gotten several printouts on the accidents that have happened at that address. I think the police gave us some printouts, like 4 or 5 pages. And that concerns me. It's a public safety issue that concerns me. More foot traffic to a place that we already have a lot of accidents. And we never broke it down really to see, but there's accident, property damage, hit and runs, injuries. And some months, and it's not just during the race time, the crosswalk there, people that are crossing a state highway. It's not just a side street. And a sidewalk on Alpine really doesn't alleviate the danger that happens when they get to the main highway. I had several from that neighborhood, especially the one behind it, or what's this street? Anyway, a gentleman tried to get home last Saturday. He called me. He said he called everybody in town that he knew to call. I don't know if he called all of you. But it took him 45 minutes to get to his house because of the pedestrian traffic that's going across. And the way we have our lights set up, the pedestrians really are in charge of traffic. And several people said they sat there for 45 to an hour without moving Saturday. And this is not every day, but it is adding to that crossing there. If we put more foot traffic that has to cross that, we have several pages of printouts. Sometimes there's more than, there's 9 in 1 month. There were 7 in 1 month, 10 in March, 1 month. These are accidents. I don't know if there's any place in town at that one address that would have that many accidents. I mean, in front of it, 7 accidents in 1 month, 9 accidents, 10. The concern I have is the public safety and people walking across the street. And I know we've got flashing lights, but when they push that button, it can be 2 people that cross at one spot and 2 people another, but they stop, totally paralyze the traffic on Central Avenue. If there's some way to do it over on the other side so that they don't have to cross that state highway, it makes a whole lot more sense. I think all of you got the printout of the accidents. In March, April, June, 5 accidents. That's more than 1 a week.
Madam Mayor, are you implying that those are all pedestrian accidents at that location?
No, did you get?
I saw it, but I also am aware that they write incidents if it's a fender bender in a parking lot too.
Well, at the.
Chief Stacy, did you have a chance to take a look at that? I asked.
Okay, would you let us ask some questions, because it's really not real clear what's going on here, but there's an awful lot of accidents.
Thank you, Mayor. Jason Stacey, Interim Police Chief. I looked into this issue yesterday at the request of some emails, and so for 2015, I actually pulled 2 records clerks off their regular duties and had them start analyzing the data for 2015. For 2015, there were a total of 70 accidents along the 2705 Central Corridor. Some of those accidents did occur in the parking lot. Believe it or not, out of the 70 vehicle accidents that occurred, were I just explained, only 2 of those involved pedestrians. One actually occurred in the parking lot of Oaklawn Jockey Club. The other one did occur along the Central Avenue corridor. There were 5 accidents out of that 70 that were actually, if you want to call it maybe pedestrian related. In other words, the pedestrian was crossing the street, a vehicle stopped to allow the pedestrian across. The vehicle behind the stopping vehicle would rear end the vehicle yielding to the pedestrian. So there were 5 occasions of that. The majority of them were rear end collisions. Some of them were failure to yield off of Oaklawn, Crestwood, some of those side streets directly in front of Oaklawn. So that briefly is the breakdown of accidents for 2015 of those 70.
Thank you, Chief.
I have not been able to, I haven't had enough time to analyze 2014 yet, but that was 2015.
Question.
Yes.
I'm wondering if we compared that to the years when everybody had to stop for a red light, and that was when the pedestrians would cross. Because I've seen that happen. I've gotten stuck in it several times over the last 2 weeks. And one of the things I thought about was people see a green light, they think they have, and go. And I'm just wondering if we went back to, and took away the flashing lights and went back to the way it was when the only time pedestrians could cross was when the lights were red.
And, that may be a good possibility to look and maybe get with the highway department and traffic service to see what signals different sets of colored lights might actually indicate to get vehicles to stop. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And also, even if it's not a physical injury, if it's your car that got rear-ended, it still hurts, you know. You gotta go fix it out, so property damage is listed constantly on there. What does it mean with hit and run? Is that property?
No, not necessarily. There's actually 3 classifications of hit and run vehicles. One could involve a vehicle versus pedestrian. Another one could involve vehicle versus vehicle. The third type could be vehicle versus a stationary object. So you have a variety, and I will tell you right now that the vast majority of those hit and runs were not vehicle versus pedestrian. They were vehicle versus vehicle. So a vehicle hits another one and it's like, oh wow, I just hit this vehicle, I don't have insurance, or for whatever reason, the driver doesn't want to stay and he flees the scene. Yes, ma'am.
I've seen a lot of pedestrian versus pedestrian accidents there.
Could we get back on topic for the rezone
I
request?
think we are on topic for the rezone
We're
request.
talking about parking, and the question is about rezoning. All the stuff and the development of that lot for parking is the next step. This is just for consideration of the rezone.
And if the rezone doesn't happen, there will be no parking. That's why I'm asking the questions, and it is very important. There's conditional use parking, overlay parking, which is only a few months out of the year. We're talking about 365 24/7 parking. It's a little bit different than overlay. Let me just read. This is what I want to say without forgetting what I wanted to say. I want to accommodate Oaklawn in dealing with their parking needs in the same manner that we should any other business in our city. The city of Hot Springs paid over $100,000 several years ago to have our traffic lights timed So you can drive from the Hot Springs Mall to downtown in 10 minutes based on normal traffic. When a business builds or makes changes on Central Avenue, such as when Walmart built their super center on Central Avenue, they were required to conduct a traffic study and fund the road traffic control and timing software costs to prevent causing traffic delays. In order for us to approve the parking request that Oaklawn is proposing, we need to ask them to do the same as other businesses are required to do. In this case, we need to ask them to present a traffic study that includes the pedestrian flow and times it along with the existing time flow of traffic lights on Central Avenue. Currently, on Saturday afternoons and other busy days, the only time a car actually flows down Central Avenue in front of Oaklawn during peak pedestrian crossing hours is when drivers aggressively and illegally ignore the flashing crosswalk lights and pedestrians waiting to cross and proceed through the crosswalk. If drivers followed the letter of the law, traffic would stay backed up for hours and miles all the way back to the bypass and downtown to Oaklawn. If a suitable solution to this problem, such as pedestrian safety and timing pedestrian crossings to allow traffic to flow, were presented with this proposal, it would have my support. For this reason, I would entertain a motion to table to allow Oaklawn a chance to prepare such a solution. I think we need a study.
Mayor, we'd like to include the Baptist Church in the study. I have had problems when I'm going home from church on Sunday with the flow out of that parking lot too. That slows down traffic. So we might want to consider that as
All the way back to the bypass?
No, I'm going the other direction from downtown.
Well, if they were asking for more parking, I think we should. If they were approaching us with the same request, I think we should treat everyone fairly, all the same. We did that with Walmart where they had to pay for the technology that cost to time those lights from downtown all the way, well, from, all the lights are timed. We know that. And there is we bought the system to do that. Is that right? Is that correct? And then we charged Walmart for the equipment that it took to keep that timing consistent.
It doesn't work.
Yes, it does.
No, it does. Can't get out to the mall in 15 minutes.
Can't get to the mall in
With the
15
timing.
minutes. Cross town.
I do.
Going
You don't live on this
past
end.
Cornerstone and going through that area. That's where it's really.
Well, we did that. It's the city that did that. We required the city to conduct a traffic study and fund the road traffic control and timing software that it costs to prevent causing traffic delays. So if we did that for one entity, I think we should do it. If anybody's requesting more parking, I think it deserves a study. I mean, we're talking about stuff that's very important. We're talking about accidents, whether it's if it's your car, it's important. If it's my car, it's important. If it's a hit and run, it's important. If it's a body injury, it's important to somebody. And so we're just adding to that. I don't care who would be asking for this. I think we should ask for a traffic study.
Mayor, I'd like to call for the question.
Well, I entertain a motion to table it until we can have a study
You
done.
can't entertain no motion.
Why can't I entertain a motion?
I have one more question, please, first. Mr. Breckenridge?
Yes, ma'am.
He wanted to ask a question.
Yes, ma'am.
How many days is this expected to be used?
Just during live meet mainly. Usually, right now, the lot that we're going to add on to is locked when live meet is not happening. So,
Well, in the packet, it said 300, it's year-round. That's what the packet said, so that you would pave it and it would be used, not just during the live meet. That's what I read in the packet.
Council, I call for the question, do we need to continue discussion?
Yes, I think we
Motion
do.
for the question has been called. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Second.
Thank you all for the public right to comment. I really appreciate the way y'all do that. It's just awesome. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. No. All right, we have a question. Would you please, all in favor?
You'll call the roll on the ordinance.
Okay, all roll on the ordinance.
Jones.
Aye.
Clark.
Aye, sorry.
Williams.
There was something I wanted to say, but since...
No.
Well, now you and Director Foley did it last meeting, so I'll go ahead and vote aye. But y'all both y'all both during a roll call talked, so.
You're in a roll call.
Anyway, yes, both of you did.
Okay, go right again.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Remick? Aye. Foley?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Carmen?
No, because I want to talk about it and I'm not allowed to.
6-1.
Okay,
Ayes have it.
61, the ayes have it.
Questions about dysfunctional?
Yeah, power dysfunctional. Okay, the next item of business is to consider ordinance number 01608. First of all, we'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved. Second.
All in favor of the motion to suspend, please say aye. Any opposed, no. Okay. Council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01608, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the procurement of certain sole source wastewater system equipment, waste tank bar screen equipment parts, approving sole source supplier, boosters water, and for other purposes that can be doing American motion second to adopt that discussion.
So moved.
And a second. Okay, we have a motion and second. Who is the staff person?
This is repairs to our bar screen, and it's requesting that Custer Water be a sole source supplier, and they truly are a sole source supplier. With your permission, we'll move forward with these ordering these parts. They have this.
Any discussion? Everyone signed up to talk about it, so. Hearing no discussion, would you please call the roll?
Yes. Clark?
Aye.
Williams?
Aye.
Remick? Aye. Foley?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Jones? Aye. Carmen?
Aye. It is adopted. Okay, the next item of business is consider ordinance number 01609. First of all, we'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of the motion to suspend the rules, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01609, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the procurement of certain sole source wastewater system equipment, Campus Belt Press Systems, including OEM parts, approving sole source supplier, Alpha Lava Inc., and for other purposes that conclude your reading. Mayor, if you now entertain a motion and second to adopt and have discussion.
Okay, do I have a motion to adopt? And a second. Discussion again.
Okay, this is our belt filter press. It's over 20 years old, and our recommendation, of course, is to repair it. It'll last another 10 to 15, possibly 20 years. Purchase a new one would be around $400,000. So these repairs are anticipated to cost $160,688, and we did budget for this year.
Do you have any questions? Any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Williams?
Aye.
Remick?
Aye.
Foley?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Jones? Aye. Clark?
Aye.
Carmen?
Aye. It is adopted. The next item of business is to consider ordinance number 01610. First of all, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second? All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01610, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the procurement of certain sole source services, excellence in police course, approving sole source supplier Andy Harvey, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading. Mayor, if you now entertain the motion second to adopt and have discussion.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Okay.
Thank you. We are requesting approval to waive competitive bidding to obtain the services of Andy Harvey. Mr. Andy Harvey is a lieutenant with the Dallas Police Department. I have personally listened to his presentation a couple years ago at the Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas. The topic of procedural justice is very timely, very important, and very relevant, especially in today's time. He will cover the following topics with all sworn officers of our department: the 3 C's of community expectations, the 3 phases of police-citizen encounters, and the importance of listening and communication skills. We train our officers and we give them so much knowledge, especially with all the tools on our belt. But what I have really seen, and I have a heart for, is teaching officers how to use their mouth and to listen to people. So I feel like, as far as I know, we may be the only agency in the state of Arkansas to have this type of training. It's a very new concept within criminal justice, and I think very, very important. So the cost of instruction is $3,500, not including per diem, which we estimate to be around $1,000. Any questions?
Okay, thank you so much. Any discussion? Hearing none, would you please call the roll?
Raymond. Aye. Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Clark.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Carter.
It is adopted. The next item of business is to consider ordinance number 01611. I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, please say no. Council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01611, an ordinance waiving the requirements of competitive bidding for the procurement of certain sole source items, sewer pumps and parts, repealing ordinance number 5563, and for other purposes. That concludes your reading, Mayor. Can now entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
I move for the adoption.
Is there a second? Okay, and Dorita.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm Dorothy Yates, Finance Director, Treasurer, City. Staff recommends that you award sole source status for certain wastewater pumps to various suppliers. It's not uncommon for manufacturers to name certain distributors throughout the state that can carry their parts. So it's not practical to go out and bid for these parts because there's only certain distributors that will carry them. And also for purposes of continuity, the city does have certain pumps that they use. We have several pumps that we've named here: KSB wastewater, King pumps, Delta pumps, Barnes pumps, F.E. Myers, PowerFlow, Flight, Cornell pumps. Each one of these have a designated distributor that can supply those. So we're asking that you approve them as sole source for these pumps.
Do you have any questions for Dorita? Okay, hearing none, no further discussion. Would you please call the roll?
Yes. Foley.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Clark.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Raymond. Aye. Carney.
Aye. It is adopted. The next item of business is the ordinance number 01612. First of all, I'll entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read by title only.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Council, would you please read the ordinance by title?
Ordinance 01612, an ordinance, City of Hot Springs, Arkansas, authorizing the financing of certain 2016 budgeted capital, declaring an emergency and for other purposes. That does conclude the reading, Mayor. If you would entertain a motion second to adopt and have discussion, if any, bearing in mind there is an emergency clause that will be read separately in the event that it's adopted.
Do I have a motion to, and do I have a motion? In a second?
Second.
Okay, and discussion, we didn't do that. This is for the emergency clause? No.
This is for the financing.
The finance, okay, now another discussion. Thank you, Mayor.
She didn't move. That's what
She didn't move, that was it, yeah.
During the 2016 budget process, we identified certain pieces of capital equipment for financing. This capital was in the general fund, police fund, fire fund, and street fund. We're able to do this pursuant to state law amendment 78. This is a 5-year financing. We went out for bids to obtain the best financing that we could. We sent out proposals, we heard back from 9 bidders, of whom 7 were responsive, and evaluated those bids, and we're recommending that this financing be done by Regions Bank. Regions Bank gave us a benchmark rate, 5-year treasury note rate, and then 20 basis points above that rate at the time that we actually consummate this note. I think I told you last Tuesday in agenda meeting, at that time the 5-year rate was 1.12, I believe. And today at the end of the business it was 1.22, so it's picked up 10 more basis points. It's been moving around quite a bit over the last month as the stock market has. I know you guys are all aware of that. So if we were able to do that financing today, it would be at 1.42%. And the budget rate is, that we used the budget's 1.75%. The last 2 years, the rate we got was, I believe, 1.508% for 2013, 1.52% for 2014. So if we keep the rate stable, then we can actually come in at a lower rate than we have for the last 2 years. Right now, the total amount that we're going to be financing is $1,271,800.
Do we have any questions? Can you read them?
We better hop on this rate while we can.
That's right. Any discussion? Hearing none, please call the roll.
Davidson.
Aye.
Jones. Aye. Clark.
Aye.
Williams.
Aye.
Raymond.
Aye.
Foley.
Aye.
Carney.
So it's adopted. We already have an emergency
Mayor, with your
clause.
permission, I'll read the emergency clause. Section 7, due to the need to obtain said financing, it is hereby found and determined that an emergency exists, and this ordinance being immediately necessary for the protection of the public health, safety, and welfare shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage and approval. That concludes your reading of the emergency clause. If you would entertain a motion, second to adopt and have discussion.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
I move for adoption of the emergency clause, Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and all in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. Okay, it is adopted. Okay, the next item of business is, that concludes it. The Board of Directors' comments. Do you have any comments? Yes, sir.
I have one. I'd like to read this. This was the front page of the Sentinel Record, Sunday, February 14, 2016. This is a poem by Mr. Hamp Williams, who was a prominent businessman in the city of Hot Springs. The poem was published February 12, 1916, 100 years ago. Boost your city, boost your friend, boost the church that you attend, boost the street on which you're dwelling, boost the goods on which you're selling, boost the people around about you. They can get along without you, but success will quicker find them if they know you are behind them. Boost for every forward movement, boost for every new improvement, boost the men for whom you labor, boost the stranger and the neighbor. Cease to be a chronic knocker, cease to be a progress blocker. If you make your city better, boost it to the final letter. I think that's as fitting today as one was 100 years ago.
It is. I said it must have been ready to kill up one another back then.
Amen.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, any other comments from our board members?
It's so nice to see Director Jones back.
Hey, listen, I missed y'all. I know y'all playing like that. But to take it anyway.
Yes, she does.
It's good to be back.
Like a bad penny.
Okay, immediately following the adjournment tonight, we will have a public comment section here in the board chambers. And for those of you who will be leaving, please do so quietly. And there being no further business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Everybody sign up?
Yes, they did. Please don't leave.
Motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I thought you was asleep. Second, Mayor.
Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, please say no. This meeting is adjourned. Stay for this just a minute, and we'll have the microphones back in for the public comment. Okay, are we back on? Okay. James Dixon.
Thank you. I represent Paul Wilson with Wilson's Home Improvement. We're working on expanding our business. It's on the east side of town, and we had a meeting with Gary Carnahan here a few months ago. We had a request for service water and wastewater connection, and it was denied. We respectfully request to be added to the agenda at the next regularly scheduled board meeting for you guys to consider it, please.
Okay. Thank you.
Where's it located?
It is 1964 East Grand. Is that the?
That's Wilson's Home Improvement District.
I'm sorry, what was the question was, where is it?
Where's it located? Where's the extension being requested?
It's on the east side of town.
How far
East
out?
side of town.
We say the east side of town. Is it in the city limits or is it outside?
It's just outside, I believe. I think Matt has got some specifics.
Yeah,
That's-
I think we saw pictures.
Is it within a mile of the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
I'm
thank you.
pretty sure that will be correct.
It's just across the bridge? No, not that way.
Let's-
Cutter Morning Star School.
Yes, ma'am.
It's right across the street.
Yes, ma'am.
The bypass from it.
Yes,
It's
ma'am.
right there.
The north side.
North side.
Yes, sir.
Did I send a picture of that? Did you send it to us?
I did.
You did. So it's in our messages. If you'll check, there's a layout of that.
Isn't there an automatic addition of appeals for considering there's not?
No, sir, it's on a case-by-case basis.
Do you have any other questions from us? Just a request? Okay, thank you. And Matthew Breckenridge? They keep you busy, don't they?
Yes, ma'am.
Appeal.
I'm working with Wilson's Home Improvement on this water connection, and the property is located about 1,500 feet west of Westinghouse. It's outside the city limits, but still within the planning buffer. And we've got, it's surrounded by McClendon Road on the north and East Grand on the south. And there's a water line that fronts the property along McClendon Road, and that's what we're asking to make our tap connection for the water service.
So it's already there?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were running it from that spot to your, is it one bathroom you're asking for?
I believe there's going to be 2 restrooms.
2 restrooms?
Yes, ma'am.
You need an extension on the wastewater line?
No, sir, there's a septic system on site, so it's just a water service connection.
Thank you so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Did y'all have any questions for Matt? That's good, I asked if they had any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're out of here.
Director, your applications are in front of y'all. If you would be so kind as to bring those back, that Mr. Saul has to write the office of them, that would be great.
Members of the board, is it okay if we add that to the next agenda? Let's just add that to the next agenda for your consideration.
You need to manage this there?
Sure. Do we, I think asking questions, and I guess we're gonna get it done on the agenda anyway. But I think when they made the decision to move it, it was after that the ordinance was passed.
It is. They've got a pretty large building.
I'm at that location.
Opposite side of town, across the highway to Timberline.
It'd be a new facility.
They're kind of hinting in where they're at. They don't have any
They have stated that they believe 4 will come with this particular expansion. It's a warehouse.
There may be another one coming on the north side of town. I'll make the board aware of that now. I had a phone call from Ray Owen today that there is a subdivision out 7 North that would like to have water and wastewater service. Wastewater service. The water service is North Garland County Water, but they don't have wastewater service, so we may see that coming as an appeal very soon as well. So I'll just say that we continue to have the connection policy in force, and we continue to abide by that. So you may start seeing additional appeals.
Stick to the top. Yes, yes. What's coming up first? Yeah. Second. The first is the next meeting.
Yes. I have to find it.
Wait a minute, you had never been to the song.
Because it wasn't published until that Sunday.
That's what our city attorney says.
Are they really twins?
I'm like.
About Dylan.
Later on. I got a report with his. So you have time to say, oh, I don't know why the first significant.
I'll let them know.
Walk around in them. That's a good idea. I haven't been a lot of people. Today. Right now, what? I've been on their money already. Take it all.
Get my text? Okay.
Yes, indeed. Okay, you too, good night.
That assumes that nobody. Yeah.
Did you know that? See that? My niece said, I'm so glad you're holding your neck up. That's all I was so worried about your neck.
A few minutes.
And then when Randy saw me, he had a heart attack. So he came to visit me out here, you know.
The older people come through and talk to you.
Yes, indeed. Then he diagnosed my illness. That's right. I heard Arthur said he had met him. Who said he go too much? Yeah, he said, don't tell him. Don't tell him he was right now. Awesome way.